Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. This is John Polson with the Memory Group here in Williamsburg, eXp Realty. And I have with me today
Peter Bunai.
Hi, it's Pete. We got Peter Bunai with First Choice Home Inspections. Peter is our local home inspector here that does a lot of home inspections in the area. Today, this is Love Your Home. And we have an opportunity to share information and education with you about homes. Today, we're talking again with Peter about home inspections. Peter has some awesome information to share. Our objective is to share this information so that you can be educated out there in the community, so that if you're looking to buy or sell a home, you can perhaps save yourself a lot of money, if not avoid costly mistakes. So Peter, I understand that you have a little bit of information you want to share this morning about some of the more common things that we might find during a home inspection.
Yeah, I thought we would go over the most common things that are, stuff that I run into all the time, and just cover those. And that could be great for understanding what we're likely to find. It could also be great if you're preparing your house to be to go through a home inspection. You might want to go through and check these and see if you might want to clean them up so that the home inspector doesn't find them.
We always love that. Nobody likes surprises, and that's probably the most stressful part of a home inspection for a seller and for a buyer. During the home inspection process, people want to be able to feel confident about what they're buying, and that's the whole purpose of a home inspection, is so that you know what you're getting. But this is a great opportunity to do some teaching about the common things that some people probably don't think about as they're living in a home, but they are very important, right? So I will let you take over. You should be able to share your screen now, and you can take over, and would love to see more about what you got.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Is that you've got that?
Yeah, I can see that. 111 Shore Drive.
All right, there we are. And we're taking a look at this nice house. And this is also a typical report for me. This is the typical format. Shows the inspector and the realtor. List the number of defects. Probably do another time where we'll go through exactly what our all the different, look at this, we're a little bit limited on time, so we're just gonna try and hit the main faults that we typically come across. But as I page through here, this is the normal report.
Absolutely. Okay.
So, crawl space, here in Virginia, we always have, there's a lot of crawl spaces here in Hampton Roads. They almost always have moisture issues. So no moisture barrier, or the moisture barrier is all and not covering the whole thing. That's just a one that we come across all the time. Here's another one. The insulation just has fallen down. Somebody just needs to go in there and staple it all back up, make sure it's doing a good job as insulation.
Right.
Mildew is also ends up being pretty common, just because it's hot and moist, so we end up with just a lot of mildew on the structure. And not only do I look for mildew and termites and all that kind of thing, but there's also usually a separate mold and termite inspection that's done for homes. I don't know if you want to say any more about that, but
yeah, that's an important subject. There is actually there's two elements to the inspections that happen in the contract, and this is the home inspection part that's usually done by the buyer, and you get a chance to observe that, but you may not dive in as deep. You don't have to issue a certificate for the termite, moisture, wood destroying pests. There's a separate certification that gets done as part of that contract. So that's a good point.
Yeah. Crawl space, again, with water, we're always looking at how water flows around the property. And so one of the common things that happens, of course, is the gutters fill with leaves, and then the gutters overflow. The rain ends up, the stormwater ends up around the perimeter of the house, and then it comes into the crawl space. And so we're always looking for where that's coming in, because the repeated stormwater into the crawl space often causes or can cause problems with the structure. And so that's the reason why we're always, concerned about where's the stormwater flowing.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Of course, anything going on with the roof, if you live close to trees, branches tend to fall and damage the roof, and if you live far away from trees, the wind tends to get to the roof and sometimes can lift up a couple of shingles, and sometimes there's a little bit of roof repair needed.
Pick your poison.
What's that?
It's pick your poison, right?
That's it. Pick your poison. And here's what I'm talking about. This is just typical leaves filling up the gutters. Just needs to be a regular thing. Get up there and clean out the gutters, or use one of many forms of gutter guards. We absolutely could do a whole segment on gutter guards. There's so many different types to choose from, and I know there's a big business in ones that some of them do a fantastic job of keeping the leaves out, but they also keep the water out of the gutters. So anyway, that's a whole nother subject. So moving on. This is just typical for the porches, minor cracks and gaps in the brick. So this is, again, just typical things that we find around the front of the house, where you have the entranceway. So we call that kind of thing out. Another one is most homes have vinyl siding. And so we end up with, this might just be a string trimmer damage, or something that's gone over time. I don't know if I can click on this picture and make it bigger. Let me see. There we go. And this is showing just a little bit of heat damage. Probably someone had a grill here, and the heat from the grill just melted a little bit of the siding. So
yep, a little bit too close there.
All right. A little too close. Yeah, that's right. This is another very common one. I didn't realize I could click on these pictures on this. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
This is just so many homes. You get down to where the rain splashes in these corners, and there's almost always this problem where the moisture,
yep.
The moisture damage to the wood, and just see that over and over and over again. So
yeah, I see that.
Really great place to check in your home. Another thing that I see is the bottom 12 inches of this wood has all been replaced, and that's fine, because that's the repair properly done.
Right.
Yeah. So here's another one. It's actually quite common. A lot of homes, once they get to 10 to 15 years of age, they have what's called the failed seals. So you start to get a little bit of moisture between the panes of glass, and it doesn't you can't quite see through it clearly. So we always call that out. And sometimes in homes we have a whole bunch of them, sometimes it's one or two, but we're always looking for that kind of thing.
Yep.
Of course, cracked driveways, just very common. I don't think people do a lot, and you can answer this better. I'm always calling out cracks in the driveways because I kind of look at it more as an issue for water. To me, this is an indication that the water should be flowing differently across the driveway, like either collecting it at one side or somehow doing it differently. To me, it means that the driveway is not properly supported underneath. But as far as the real estate transactions, how often do you actually see people requesting repairs on driveways?
Well, typically it's not something that we give a lot of concentration. It depends on the situation. Obviously, every transaction is different. It's not something that is usually addressed in the repairs, but it can be, depending on the severity of it, for sure. And of course, depending on the nature of that transaction, it is something to certainly be aware of, because it could be something that could be a costly repair later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So Oh, low areas are along the foundation. I don't know where the picture is for this. Oh, here we are, still
There
loading.
it is.
Another, especially as homes get older. So this is affected by two things. One is that when you're excavating the house, the soil right next to the house has been disturbed and therefore needs to settle, and it tends to come down afterwards. And the other thing is that the rainwater, again, once the gutters are not doing their job or full of leaves or whatnot, it rains here and slowly disturbs the soil and it's carried away. So we don't want the soil right next to the house to be low, because then the water tends to pool and it makes the whole problem worse about having the water right up against the foundation, because it holds it there. What we really want is from starting at the foundation and about 6 feet out is we want a nice grade of about 1 inch per foot. So anytime we don't have that, I'm going to call that out. And that, again, that might sound like it's a little bit on the picky side, but really what that's about is taking care of the foundation long term.
Yeah, yeah, because you don't want moisture up against the house all the time. There will end up with potential for rotten wood inside the walls of the house.
Yeah. Here's another common one. This one is kind of an extreme situation of it, is just trees growing up against the building. Most people don't let it go this far. Obviously, when the wind blows and the branches are going back and forth, you can damage the structure, scratch it and whatnot. So always good to trim all the branches back so that none of them can come into contact with the structure. In fact, holding them back a couple of feet might not be a bad idea either. Just really no reason for it. Also, if you have a whole bunch of vegetation, it can increase the amount of moisture that you have against the house, and it can take longer for the house and its woodwork to dry out after a rain event.
Right.
So,
that's a great picture.
yeah.
Oh, this one's one we see all the time.
All the time. All the time. Let's see what we got here, if I can get this.
When we have gutters, that is.
I guess it's a little slow to download. Well, downspouts discharging at the foundation. Okay, here we go. This is right in line with the other comments that we had about the water at the foundation. Is we don't want the water coming right here at the edge, and for all the same reasons we just discussed. So anytime the water is just being dumped right here to the corners, then we want to do something about that. Interestingly, almost every time that I go to a house and there is a foundation problem, I almost always find that there is downspouts somewhere close by dumping water close to that problem. So let's see if we
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect. That's it. Cause and effect. And this is just of course we're also going through the house. Usually on the inside of the house, we check all the plumbing. We're always finding, here's just, you see the
Oh my.
the plumbing is just leaking on the top. I'll just play that one more time. It was very brief.
Yeah. Okay.
So, typical. And leaks in supply plumbing, also leaks in the drain plumbing. This is just a picture of it leaking underneath. There's a little drip there, but it's just a steady dripping. So again, we're going through the house. We're just looking for all the leaks in the plumbing. That might be the end of it. Let's see, drywall damage. The reason I usually include drywall damage is one is people don't like to see it, but the other is it can be an indication of other problems. Like sometimes let's say that there's a stain in the ceiling, but the stain is dry, and I'm not sure if like let's say the roof has been recently replaced. I may just go ahead and call it drywall damage, just as a way of calling out that something may be going on there. Or maybe a poor quality repair. I might put that in there. Sorry, this picture apparently is not loading. So that's you can just imagine the variety of drywall damage that that we could go through and find in a home. And basically I use that to just really put all those problems under that heading.
Right. And they're observation. What you're talking about are observations. You're not trying to necessarily say your house is falling apart. That's not the point. But you are pointing out something of value, which is to say, this is something you observed, and there was a cause and effect, just like we were talking about the downspouts. When you're in the crawl space, you'll see the signs of that moisture coming through. You go back outside and you'll see that downspout is right there. So when you see that stain in the ceiling or the crack in the drywall, there's a cause and effect to that, and that's important to understand.
Right, and so we're really looking to find things that also indicate some other problem, so we can really get to the root of the problem and handle that for whoever's moving into the house.
Yep. So
I think that might be, let's see, we're not getting that picture either. This is no anti-tip bracket. This is what I call realtor's favorite. A lot of stoves, we just see if they have this bracket behind them, which keeps them from tipping over, and they should have it, and a lot of times they don't, then so we call that out. So okay. Let's see, fireplace. Oh, gas logs cannot be started. Another classic. To me, it's always amazing because you would think that if you're going to sell a house, why not make sure that the gas logs can start? It seems like an easy thing to do, and start them recently. Some of them will start if you give them a little time. You make sure the gas is in the lines and all that kind of thing, that the sparker is working. Anyway, it seems to me that would be one that if you're selling a home, you could pretty much make sure that the gas logs easily start.
That's a great point. That's a pretty simple thing for most people to do. Yeah. Right.
So let's see if we got anything else on here. Oh yeah, one more, last one. No cap on condensate drain. There's a number of different versions of this, but a lot of times when we have the HVAC system, what I'm looking for is that the condensate is able to leave the HVAC system and that the air is not able to get into it, because the whole point of the condensate trap is to keep the air from coming in. So if I go to the condensate trap and I see that there's a cap off it ahead of it, or there's the plug next to it is open, or any different version of this, then obviously you're defeating the whole point of having a condensate trap. And so I call that out for those reasons. So because it's really important that we can get the water out of the HVAC system, and we can keep the air from being drawn in from outside, because we want to keep those two things separate.
Yeah.
So, John, any questions about any of these? I'm sorry, I didn't get all the pictures in here. Looks like
looks like some of them are still trying to load, perhaps. So that's something.
Slow this morning.
Oh, okay. There's your screen. Okay. No, I think that I have a lot of questions, Pete, and I think that this is a great subject matter for people to kind of get more of. We'll certainly talk more about these kinds of things in some of our next, occasions when we get a chance to chat about this as well. This is the kind of thing that I'd love for more people to be able to know and understand, particularly when they're considering maintenance of their own home, because it's a lot of what we find in a home inspection are relatively simple maintenance items when they're done over time, but when they're neglected for a period of years, perhaps those factors compound themselves into what amounts to some things that end up having to be maybe sometimes a little bit costly repair. So this information is really helpful. And I think that there's so many items that you pointed out. We could probably go into each one of those and do some more subject matter detail on how to help address that. But being aware, I think when homeowners are aware of these things, gives them a chance to kind of look at it in their own home, understand that they may be able to fix some of these things themselves. And sometimes it's better to get somebody that, we all have specialties. Each of us have good and valuable uses of our time. And sometimes it's good to get a professional to come in and take a look at your home to make some maintenance repairs. So deferred maintenance, we call that kind of thing. This has been really super helpful information, Peter. I really appreciate your bringing this to us. look forward to sharing more of this kind of thing with the community in the future. Anything else that you want to add real quick?
No, happy to share it. Look forward to more of these.
Absolutely, absolutely. So today happens to be Tuesday. We had a little bit of technical difficulty last night, but we're glad to share this information in the community today. And this is educational information to help you make smart decisions, avoid costly mistakes in real estate when you're buying or selling a home. My name is John Polson, Memory Group with eXp Realty, and this is Peter Bunai with First Choice Home Inspections. He does a lot of home inspections for me in the greater Williamsburg and Peninsula area. We will be here regularly sharing this information. If you have any questions about real estate, please feel free to reach out. You can leave a comment on this page, or you can reach out to me directly by clicking the button and sending me a private message if you like. Peter's contact information will be in the link as well. And Peter, I will let you get about your day because I know it is morning and I'm sure you've got more to do today.
All right. Take care.
All right, take care. Until later, everybody have a fantastic day.
All right.